Hi everyone, thanks for coming. My name is David and I'm going to be reading you two poems tonight. The first poem is by Garrett Hongo, who, if you're not familiar with, is a fourth generation Japanese American poet who came up in the early wave of Asian American writers in the 70s and 80s. He was born at Volcano, Hawaii, and grew up desiring a genealogy of stories that he could identify with, but could not find within the Western canon. This led him to travel, teach, learn, and make poetry in Japan, Michigan, California, and Oregon. The poet Yusuf Komunyakaa says that Hongo has an impeccable sense of history, a sense that is visible in his poems that record and witness to the stories of immigration, cultural conflicts, assimilation, and in the case of this poem, anti-Asian violence. I feel kinship with Hongo as I am from Hawaii as well, but also in that we recognize the substance of our lives through poems, and through poems imagine more life. I read this to remember Asian artists like him amongst many who have come before us to make nights like these for the living possible. The legend. In Chicago, it is snowing softly, and a man has just done his wash for the week. He steps into the twilight of early evening, carrying a wrinkled shopping bag full of nearly folded clothes, and, for a moment, enjoys the feel of warm laundry and crinkled paper, flannel-like against his gloveless hands. There's a Rembrandt glow on his face, a triangle of orange in the hollow of his cheek, as a last flash of sunset blazes the storefront and lit windows of the street. He is Asian, Thai or Vietnamese, and very skinny, dressed as one of the poor in rumpled suit pants and a plaid mackinaw, dingy and too large. He negotiates the slick of ice on the sidewalk by his car, opens the Fairlane's back door, leans to place the laundry in, and turns for an instant toward the flurry of footsteps and cries of pedestrians as a boy, that's all he was, backs from the corner package store, shooting a pistol, firing it, once, at the dumbfounded man who falls forward, grabbing at his chest. A few sounds escape from his mouth, babbling no one understands, as people surround him, bewildered at his speech. The noises he makes are nothing to them. The boy has gone, lost, and the light array of foot traffic dappling the snow with fresh prints. Tonight, I read about Descartes' grand courage to doubt everything except his own miraculous existence. And I feel so distinct from the wounded man lying on the concrete. I am ashamed. Let the night sky cover him as he dies. Let the weaver girl cross the bridge of heaven and take up his cold hands. The poem that I wrote for this event is titled If I Were an Angel Grieving, and I'll talk a little bit about how it came to be. This poem came in the summer of 2023 while meditating on the attack and the tensions I felt. In the blankness of the page, I saw a figure obscured. As I got closer, I heard weeping, closer, and I saw tears. It was an angel, a cherubim, like in the book of Ezekiel where it says, their entire bodies, including their backs, their hands, and their wings, were completely full of eyes. And when this angel opened its eyes, I saw that they were racialized, Asian eyes. The poem follows that encounter and considers hope the way the poet Seamus Haney describes Václav Havel's definition of hope. That hope is different from optimism, a state of the soul rather than a response to the evidence. Not the expectation that things will turn out successfully, but the conviction that something is worth working for, however it turns out. Its deepest roots are in the transcendental, beyond the horizon. If this is hope, then I write with it, even if it is invisible, unknowable, transcendent, only reached through dreams. And like any dream, I don't know what the poem means. I can only share what I've heard and seen. Okay. If I were an angel grieving, you would not see me clothed in clouds or celestially crowned with a luminous nimbus to light my wings, nor would you see me bathed in the whiteness and red of rococo cherubs, tumbling from heaven with all-rounded eyes. Instead, see me clearly, blessed with sight, eyes all over my body, blinking light, my irises shining like sunrise, viewed through drops of dew. And yet, humans will ask me, can you even see? And I say yes, yes. I see everything with these 1,000 slanted eyes you love to hate. In the Gospels, an angel would appear saying, do not be afraid, as men were terrified of being sighted, no longer invisible or blind. Look at me. Are you afraid? What do you see? Do you see something suspicious, unworthy, something keen to sneak away serpently, plotting ominous conspiracy in a dark, anonymous place, veiled from all omniscience? Can you even see? Look up. Will you even see? Don't turn away because the glare is blinding. Look up, slowly, closely. How each eye once opened on the face of a beloved before they fell in Atlanta, Nashville, San Francisco, Detroit, Chicago, LA, Tacoma, New York, Bloomington. Look, how they gleam bright and watery, wary, disappearing again and again, eyelids fluttering to fly off this body toward something beloved, remembered in a dream, and lost somewhere, unnamed. Now, I cannot hide my tears that burns this skin into multiplying illuminations, pearlescent lusters burning hot like clear flame, emanating from the eyes, while tears magnify and break this light into the radiance of fireworks, flowering, streaming, brightening, and to the luminosity of liquid diamonds, till all is snow, till the eyes shudder, open, close, open, close, slow dimming to the glitter of constellations, soft candelas, lit with memory, stories. Let me tell you one. Humans asked me if I could see. I said yes, but no one believed me. So I learned the art of invisibility. I learned the art of sprouting wings, and flew where no one could find me, hidden in a cloud, disguising my weeping for rain. As I carried each spirit back to their countries, leaving the bodies to the families less family, I'm tired of this story. Let me close the eyes of Tan, Fang, Chen, Chang, Jung, Kashiwamura, Lee, Park, Takemaru, Yoon, Yu, Zhong. Let their eyes open on their faces, with yours on the earth, well rested, refreshed, awakened from dreams by rain falling like a mercy, like a glimmer of God that hears their hearts beat. I am, I am, I am, I am, and weeps. I am, I am, I am.
I'm Christine Wang. I'm an Indiana University alumni. I'm from Taiwan, and IU is the first school that I have went to in the state. So I'm happy to have an opportunity to be here again with you as an artist. I'm certainly in Atlanta, Georgia now, so I can be here in person with you today. But I'm grateful to be part of today's artist talk. If you have any question for me after the show tonight, you're welcome to reach out to me from my website. When the hate crimes happening around the world, I decided to pair with an organization, Stop AAPI Hate, that works with Asian American and Pacific Islander communities to find a way to highlight this violence as well as its effect on the community. The art piece comprises 12 posters, each echoing a victim's voice through text within symbolic strips. Take a moment to dive into the details, reflecting on the stories they convey. The yellow skin portrait illustrated all different report review cases from Asians in the state during 2020. Using yellow for the portrait skin color to represent how the victims felt their skin tone was as bright as yellow in the dark period of the pandemic. I hope through my art, people can ponder the depth of the harm that racial discrimination has brought to others.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Wu, and I have the privilege of introducing our great and wonderful speaker, Helen Zia. Helen Zia is an award-winning author, journalist, and a Fulbright scholar who's outspoken on issues ranging from civil rights and peace to women's rights and countering hate violence and homophobia. Helen's book, Asian American Dreams, chronicling the emergence of Asian Americans, is a must-read for those who want to understand the history and lived experiences of people of Asian heritage. David Henry Hwang, an acclaimed playwright, gave praise to Helen's book. According to him, Helen Zia is one of our nation's most original thinkers, and her book serves not only as an invaluable record of a movement, but also as a moving and often funny personal memoir. Helen's latest book, Last Boat Out of Shanghai, is an NPR Best Book and traces the lives of migrants and refugees out of Shanghai with striking parallels to the difficulties facing migrants today. Helen is also featured in the Academy Award-nominated documentary Who Killed Vincent Chin for her lead role countering anti-Asian violence, and was profiled in Bill Moyer's PBS series Becoming American: The Chinese Experience. In 2023, Helen founded the Vincent Chin Institute to continue the work of the past 40 years of multiracial and intersectional movement and coalition building against anti-Asian hate. This is not the first time that Helen Zia has been to IU. In 2004, Helen came to give a lecture under the auspice of the Journalism Department, Office of Women Affairs, and the Asian Culture Center. Helen is an incredibly humble and talented activist, author, journalist, and person, and we are so, so thankful to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Helen Zia.
Thank you, Caitlin. That was so lovely. And thank you, everybody here, for being at this very important gathering tonight. I am doing something new for somebody of my generation. I'm using my cell phone instead of a piece of paper, so bear with me if I don't do this well. But I want to say, can we please give some applause and love to Daixuan Ai and the musicians for that incredible, moving, and Daixuan, would you come up here for a moment, please? It is customary to give our artist a bouquet of flowers. Thank you for your creative, emotional, and evocative piece. And we also have a bouquet for our poet in residence, David Park. Thank you. So we could not have had such an incredible performance, gathering, bringing people together in recognition of something that was very painful that happened here without the support of the Jacobs School and I think Helen Barker, who is here. Wonderful, thank you, Helen. And also James Wimbush, who is with the DEI, who represents the DEI office of IU, so applause to him. And also, none of this would have been possible without the incredible, incomparable Melanie Castillo, who you heard earlier, and the Asian Cultural Center. And Melanie, I know, is speaking of somebody who is so humble and doesn't, but this is for you, Melanie. So, thank you. So I wanted to do a little bit of a reflection about why we're here, why we are gathered here. And of course, it is to support a young woman, a Hoosier, a first-year student who is attending IU, and who was attacked so violently a year ago. And so many of you came out in support of her in the course of this year in this event without really knowing anything about her except that she is one of you. She is part of this family at IU, part of this state, of this town of Bloomington. And so she deserves all the love and support that all of us can give her, and to let her and her family know that she is not alone, that we here and beyond are here to support her. And so, and that's not the only reason we're here. We're here because many of us know that it was her that day, but it also could have been any one of us. Anybody can be the target of hate. And unfortunately, so many people are the targets of hate. And so we're also here not just to talk about hate, but to say we're here this week recognizing Martin Luther King Day, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement that took place to speak up, to struggle for freedom and to speak up for the rights of all people to live as full human beings and be recognized for their full human dignity. And so that's one of the reasons we're here. And for me personally, I want to say one of the things that came out of the recognition of, in recognizing the civil rights movement is that of Black Americans, is that a civil rights movement of Asian Americans was also born out of a hate incident, a hate crime, a hate killing in Detroit 42 years ago, when a young man named Vincent Chin was attacked at another time of intense anti-Asian hate, except then it was against people who were, it was about Japan and about people who looked Japanese. Vincent Chin was Chinese, and he was attacked because he reminded his white killers of Japan and that we're here in the Midwest. I lived through 10 Michigan winters. This is home to me, you know, being here this winter. But it was a time that here in Indiana, there was great misery and pain too. Some of you might remember. It was a recession in the entire country for a number of years, almost a decade. And in the Midwest, it was a depression. And in Detroit, I had worked in the auto industry for 2 years. I was a factory worker. I was laid off just like the men who attacked Vincent Chin. I knew the suffering that people were going through and the pain, but that did not mean as a reason, that was not a reason to attack people. And in Vincent Chin's case, to be attacked and killed on the night of his bachelor party. So the thing is, to remember what happened after, in Detroit, after Vincent Chin was attacked, people came together, much as you are coming together here, came together to actually say, what can we do about this? How can we, in the words of Vincent Chin's mother, how can we make sure no other family, no other mother experiences this? And so Lily Chin, Vincent's mother, much like we saw and show such love and respect for Mamie Till, the mother of Emmett Till, who spoke up and said, this is what happened. I want the world to know. Lily Chin spoke up and said, this happened to my son. I want the world to know so that no other family goes through this again. And so she stood up in her pain. Some of you have seen the documentary, Who Killed Vincent Chin? And Lily Chin, Vincent's mother, is filmed in there speaking up time and time again through her tears, through her anguish at the loss of her son. But she stood up, and out of that came a movement, a civil rights movement, trying to take the lessons of the Black civil rights movement that really spoke up for all Americans. And so something did come out of that. And that's what's happening here. I mean, that's what I see happening here in Bloomington, here at IU. People speaking up to do something and to say that this should not happen. This should not happen in your community. This should not happen in any American town. This should not happen anywhere because we're trying to build the beloved community where everybody feels safe, and nobody should feel that they can't walk around or they could be targeted for how they look, what religion they practice, what language might have been their first language, for any reason like that, for who they love. Nothing should mean that people have to walk in fear. And so anyway, I just wanted to say we're here gathered not just to remember the pain, and it's really about what we do about it, and to remember that you are doing something about it. After a year ago, after the attack happened at the ACC, right here on campus, students started coming together and started trying to say, what can we do? How can we show support? How can we send love and write cards and send gift baskets and do things so that this fellow student, this fellow Hoosier would know that she wasn't alone. And so that's why we are here. You know, that's why the Vincent Chin Institute was created, to take the lessons of solidarity, to build bridges across every perceived difference that exists in our society to keep people apart. That's why those differences exist. And to say that those are false differences because we are all human beings. Yes, we should celebrate our own backgrounds and histories and cultures and everything like that. But when it comes down to it, we are all human beings. And we all, as Lily Chin, Vincent's mother, used to say, our skin might look different, but our hearts are the same. And that's what we are remembering here through these performances, through the poetry, through the art. So what you're doing here, I just want to say, is really part of doing something incredible in this world at this time, when what we hear in the news every day is about our differences, our divisions, the question, can we ever come together as people who are not all exactly the same, which, what does that mean? No two people are exactly the same, right? And so what you're doing here is really that part of building what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, building the beloved community. So I'm just here to say, for all of you who might have ever felt like it might not be safe to walk around, that you are not alone, that there are people like all of you gathered in this room to say that, to be here together, to know that there are many, many more people like you on this campus, in Bloomington, in Indiana, in this world, you know, in this country. And that's who should be getting the attention in the news every day, about the people who are really trying to build the beloved community. Because in the end, that is what, you know, everybody wants, really, that they can feel safe, that their kids can feel safe, that they can feel that grandma and grandpa can go for a walk and not be attacked. And the task is to make everybody feel that they want that for all human beings. And so that's why I'm here to remember, to say that, and that's what I think all of us are here to remember. I know that is what the artists, the composers, the poets, the musicians were here to say. That's the message today. And so I just want to say that all our voices here, all our music, all our song, this is what not just brings people together, but our voices, our song, our music together is so much greater than the sum of our parts. It really is going to take all of our voices, all of our song, everything together to make that change. And so I just want to thank you for listening to me now, and to say thank you for coming here and being part of this event. Thank you to our composer Daixuan, to our poet David, to all of the musicians, to the artist who isn't here tonight, to Melanie and ACC, and so thank you. And can I just say, Vincent Chin, the reason there was a movement after he was killed was that when it finally came to trial and the attackers were going to be sentenced, number one, there was no question, there was no not guilty plea because the beating death with a baseball bat was witnessed by probably 100 people. And so people saw the killers, if just to quote the testimony, going after Vincent Chin's head like they were going for a home run. And so there was no question about what took place. And however, in those days, 40 years ago, there were no victim impact statements. There were no victims' rights, there was a victims' rights movement. But the family of Vincent Chin they were not even told when the sentencing or when the court cases were happening. So they weren't even there to say, wait a minute, judge, our son was a human being. This is who he was. Instead, what happened was that the judge heard the defense attorney saying, well, really it was the victim's fault. He started the whole thing, which was not true. But there weren't even prosecutors in the room to say, wait a minute, judge, that's not the testimony. That's not the police reports. So what happened was the judge related more to the killers than they did to Vincent Chin. And that's why they gave the killers probation. And to this day, they have never spent a single day in jail. And so that's why a civil rights movement emerged, because how could any people be treated that way and harmed in that way, and there be no consequences, no accountability? So that was the idea of a justice movement, to talk about, there are, like, we were in Detroit, people who had a joint, black people who had a joint could go to jail for a very long time. And so anyway, there was the question of what is equality, what is justice in America? That's why a civil rights movement happened. And that's why these statements, these victim impact statements, are so important, because now we have them. Now we can say, well, it wasn't just between these attackers and Vincent Chin. A whole community was affected. When these kind of things happen, it really does affect everybody. And it affects a lot of people. I know that the groups that gathered at the ACC afterwards said, we're afraid this could happen to us. If it could happen to this young woman, who else could this happen to? And those of you who might ever look at hate crimes and people who commit them, hate doesn't get contained in one little basket. Unfortunately, it spreads out, and other people can be harmed and attacked too, no matter what their background. So let me just say, I wanted to put in that little point to say there's a basket with paper there for all of you who are here and have something to share about how you were affected and how it might have, how these kind of attacks against anybody affect you as well. So please, that will make a difference, potentially, in what will be a case that goes to court. So I just want to say that. And these are heavy topics. It's very somber, right? And that's why I try to emphasize at the Vincent Chin Institute and what we're doing and why we're gathered here is to talk about what we can do about these things. And so we thought, the folks who planned this incredible gathering, that we should end in a way that brings us together. And in recognition of Martin Luther King Day and a movement that really has helped, bring people together for a very long time, we thought we would have some song. So we have some singers here, I think, who are going to lead us. And we have some words. If you don't know the words to We Shall Overcome, we have 2 verses in We Shall Overcome, and we would like everybody to stand up and sing as well.
thank you all for coming, and please join us for reception, and thank you all.